Hi, everybody. Thanks for stopping by Alma Pearl Awakenings. I'm really glad that you're here. I have another transition story for you, and this one is more of a personal story, but this is involving somebody very close to me, and she is like one of the best ladies I ever met in my life, and I love her so much. But I was with I was with her at the moment that she passed, and it was difficult, and I'm sure that any of you that have been with your loved ones that are, on their deathbed, I guess is the best way to say it, that you know that that moment is coming. And you can tell, their breath pattern really slows down and they're not really conscious or present with you. And they're just kind of very labored breathing. And it's like you're just in wait mode, because you know that at some point they're going to have to transition out. And so I was with her when she passed, and I was watching her, and she was about 84 when she passed. And I was at the end of her bed, and I was watching and present and witnessing the experience of what happens to the physical body, what happens to somebody's consciousness, um, what happens to their mind, and how they start to kind of quiet and go quiet within themselves, and then it's just breath, that is left. And when you get to that point, if you love them, that is that's a really difficult moment. And so what I experienced with her is that I was watching this process, and I watched her take her last breath. And my whole inside self like crumbled when I realized that she was taking her last breath, and keeping in mind that I'm a spiritual medium and I connect with spirit. Whether you have a body or whether you don't have a body, I connect with the eternal self. And so I'm watching the physical self, pass. And then I witnessed her take her last breath. But at the moment that I witnessed her take her last breath, I saw like this, best way I can describe it, like a hologram image of her laying with herself in the body. And then the last breath was taken. And if this is the human body and this is the spirit body, and imagine it like this, and her soul began to transcend out of the body as the last breath was taken in humanity. And what I recognized at this moment is that the first breath was taken in spirit. So the last breath on earth is the first breath of spirit. And so when that occurred and that transition began at that first last breath, her her spirit body rose up while her physical body remained laying in the bed, and her spirit body rose up, and then she turned, and her legs came off of the bed, her spirit legs, and she turned around and she looked at me and she goes, "Well, that wasn't so bad, baby." And then she stood up. And when she stood up in her spirit body, she had on the cutest jumpsuit. It was this black jumpsuit with this little choker, and it had this little like stone right here. And her hair was like all done up, and she had makeup on, and she had really pretty shoes on, and she had all her jewelry on, and she just looked like 30 years younger or something, like 35 years younger. And she looked amazing and she looked beautiful. And I'm watching her and I am in awe and amazement of the light shining off of her and how happy she looked. Like, seriously, she looked like she was like on her way to a party. And I was conflicted. And I had these sides of myself that I didn't know how to process this. Like, I'm watching this and I'm devastated and my heart is breaking. And then at the moment that I'm breaking, I'm exhilarated by this experience and a witness to watch her eternal self become the dominant expression of herself, like 35 years younger, totally healthy, totally happy, on her way to a party, great hair, great makeup, great outfit. And as she walked past me to go out into the hallway of the hospital, the door opened, she opened the door, and I saw her soul, walk out. Well, if you've ever been at like a wedding reception and you're getting ready to walk into the wedding reception, and when you open the door to the wedding reception, like, what do you hear? Tink, 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 like the glasses are clanging, and you hear laughter and people are talking and there's music, and there is obviously a party and people are all over the place and they're just waiting for the bride and the groom to come in, and it's like a dynamite party, you know what I'm talking about? You know that feeling, that sound? Well, that's exactly what happened. That feeling, that sound, when she opened that hospital room door and I heard that sound and I looked over to where she was headed, there was so much brilliant light behind her, and you wouldn't even believe it. It was like walking into like a wedding reception, but like a heaven wedding reception. And there were so many people there, and they were waving and they were joyful and they were happy to see her. And she was in the service industry, and there were people there that she worked with that she probably hadn't seen in like 20 years. It was amazing. And when she kind of united herself next to them and they all came around her, she just blew me a kiss. And that was her transition. And it was amazing because it taught me, it showed me this moment um, where our eternal self is just taking its first breath, recognizing like the magic and the beauty, and telling me it wasn't so bad. Like, when she walked past me and she looked at me and she's like, "That wasn't so bad, baby." Wow, okay. So that wasn't so bad. What we sometimes view here in that last breath, she told me that wasn't so bad. When I asked her later on, after she had passed and been in heaven for a little while, I had asked her if she could give me any kind of like a description about that moment. And she showed me like if I was swimming underwater and I was running out of breath and I wanted to, like, you know how when you're underwater and you come out of the pool and you take that breath because you've been holding your breath because you've been swimming? She said that's what the first breath in heaven feels like. It's like you're coming out of the pool and you can finally like breathe something. And I thought that was incredible, that we don't have to fear the last breath, and that when our family members are, or our loved ones, or our friends are taking their last breath, if we are witness to it, we can rejoice in knowing that it is their first breath of eternal life and an eternity in love. And I don't know, I just think it's a wonderful thing to know. And I thank her for sharing that experience with me and helping me to understand that we are part of something bigger, greater, and it's a forever thing. So, anyway, that's all. I hope you guys stayed blessed, and thanks for stopping by today.